Welcome back to Sledgehammer Horror, guys. I am Ken Sledge.
And I'm Ashley Sledge.
And let's talk horror.
So today we are going to do our review on Woman in the Yard. Not Lady in the Yard. It is a Woman in the Yard. Yes, I have messed that up a few times now.
I even texted a friend earlier. Hey, did you watch Lady in the Yard?
They're like, no, but I did
watch The Woman. Okay, yeah, you know what I meant. So this is the newest offering from Blumhouse, the new PG-13 horror movie that they've given us. So it's got to be god-awful, right? Well,
yeah. Well, let's get into the positives, our negatives, and then we're going to spoil the film for you.
So let's get right into the positives.
So some of the positives, the family does feel real. It's a mom and her kids, and you really do feel the family aspect of them.
Mm-hmm. Because like you could tell the mom loves the kids, and the brother and sister especially, you could tell that there's a real familial connection there.
Yeah.
The woman is creepy.
The woman in the yard is creepy as hell.
And the echo reverb effect they put on her voice, I feel like it worked really well in this film.
It really did.
Because they didn't overdo it, but it was just enough to give you that icky vibe.
Yeah, like if a lady was in your yard and her voice sounded like that.
A woman was in your yard.
Yeah, a woman, not a lady. If she was in my yard and her voice sounded like that, like, bye.
Yeah.
See you later. The score was really great too. Definitely amplified a lot of the feeling of like anxiety and just isolation in general.
Taylor, the brother, the scene where he goes into the garage, the score at that point was so fucking good.
It really was good.
I was literally just sitting there going, wow.
I know, and I was just kind of like
awesome.
on the edge of my seat because, you know, the score amplified that whole scene so well.
Speaking of which, there's a lot of suspense in this movie.
There was a lot of suspense,
A lot of suspense where you're like, man, what's going to happen next? What's going to happen next? I thought the suspense played out really, really well.
Mm-hmm. And it really helped because they were like isolated. They had no power. They had no phone, no vehicle to get away.
You can't charge your phone if you got no power.
Right. So it was like this feeling of isolation, I felt like increased the suspense for sure.
They had no phone, no lights, no motor car, not a single luxury. They might as well have been on Gilligan's Island.
Pretty much.
You feel the grief the mother's trying to hide from the kids. You know, like she watches videos before the phones die of like her and her husband together, and so you could feel that grief within the mother.
Yeah, and there's this scene where she's like picking at her stitches, and it's like she's pulling them out of her knee,
So
and it's
uncomfortable.
So it's just really disgusting, but you can't look away.
Yeah, it's gnarly. You're like, what the fuck is happening here? So those are some of our spoiler-free positives of The Woman in the Yard. Now let's get into some of our negatives.
So some of our negatives, really, there's nothing original about this. We've seen it before in other movies. I feel like it didn't bring too much new to the table, unfortunately.
I think that this may have been, and if it wasn't, it should have been just a short film. There was a lot of padding that didn't have to be padded. This would have worked amazing as a 15-minute short. I think this would have been just absolutely killer as a short film.
And in some scenes, the brother Taylor, he overacts like with
I
his
don't know if that
facial
was on
features.
purpose, but it had to be. They had to tell him, give me more.
Yeah.
Give me more. Because there's other scenes where he's fantastic.
He really
and he
is.
just knocks it out of the park. But then there's certain scenes, like one scene in particular where he's at the window and he's turning back to talk to his mom. And I was like, this looks like high school drama class acting.
Yeah.
But like I said, there was I feel like that was, somebody on set going, give me more. Do it again. Give me more. And it didn't work for me.
Yeah, it was over the top.
Yeah. You guys know how I feel about hallucinations. You guys know how I feel about fake outs. This movie is not short on those.
Yeah, there's a lot of that going on, unfortunately, to the point where you're like, what the fuck is going on right now?
Right.
They're kind of over-reliant on jump scares. Like I said, the score is really great, and there's like anxiety there, but sometimes when you have too many cheap jump scares, it takes away from it.
The real ones.
Yeah.
There was one very good jump scare in this movie.
Yeah.
Very good. The other ones, you were just like, really?
Like you kind of see them coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we put this at the end because this is going to drift right into our spoilers. The ending makes this whole movie make no fucking sense whatsoever.
Well, we both have our own.
We have different interpretations of the end, which we're going to talk about.
We are.
But either way,
Yeah, there's definitely holes either way. Either interpretation, there's definitely holes.
Right. So let's get right into those spoilers. Again, guys, we all have our own opinions. Go watch this movie for yourself. Mm-hmm. Don't take our word as gospel, but let's get into it.
I feel like it deserves a watch.
For sure. So I was really enjoying this movie until the end, but let's get into our spoilers for the people that haven't seen it so we don't spoil it for them. But now, guys, we're going to get into our spoilers.
All right, guys, like Ken said just a couple minutes ago, we are going to spoil things now. So in the movie, the dad dies in a car accident.
That's kind of where all the grief is stemming from.
Yeah, she's constantly watching a video of him talking about a dream they had
about the farm being perfect.
About the farm being all put together, and they need a name for the farm.
Mm-hmm. And Mom is still physically hurt from the crash, too. Mm-hmm. Her leg is all messed up. We talked about the stitches. She's pulling stitches out of her legs. It's still in a, it's not in a cast. It's
like a knee brace type thing.
But a heavy duty one where she can barely move. Yeah, she's on crutches as well.
Mm-hmm. So this is when we see the lady. Tay says
there's a woman
in the yard. And she slowly is getting closer as the day progresses. Mm-hmm. She's getting closer to the home, and she uses shadows to kill. Like
she touches the wind chime.
I really like the shadow. I like that part of it. But
she kills the chickens.
She's got blood on her hands. And
kills the
dog. Kills the dog, Charlie. Poor Charlie. He kept barking.
Well, and then the lady. The woman ends up telling Tay, the son, mm-hmm. Your mom's lied to you. That's all she's done is lie to you. Come to find out, she wasn't driving, or the dad wasn't driving the car when it crashed like she had told her kids. She was driving, and she was hinting that she wanted a divorce. She wanted to leave.
It sounds like she wasn't happy in the city.
Then she wasn't
happy in the farm. It sounds like she had a lot of psychological
she couldn't be
issues.
Happy.
She just wasn't happy, unfortunately.
Right. So the woman talked to Tay mm-hmm. and told Tay this. Remember that.
Yeah. Well, and also, it was spoiled in the trailer. So.
It was spoiled in the trailer. If you watch the trailer, you knew the mom was driving anyway.
Why would you put a key point in the trailer? That's silly.
Yeah.
Especially,
because throughout the movie, when they're talking about it, you're like, the mom was driving.
Yeah.
I saw the trailer. I cut the trailer up for this review. I know that the mom was driving.
Right. So, as the sun's going down, the shadows are able to be in the house, so they all go up into the attic to get away from the shadows. And this is when the
shadow takes Annie, the little sister.
She takes Annie. She she's talking to her really sweet, I would never hurt you. I'm going to take you home, and takes Annie.
Then you find out that the woman isn't real. The woman isn't a ghost. The woman is a part of the mom.
Of Ramona.
Ramona.
Yeah.
But it's the part of her that makes her want to take her own life because she has guilt over losing the dad. Mm-hmm. So it's a part of her that's not real. That's in her head.
But the kids still see it, and I know that you're saying it like this, but in a way, it's like they are also feeling the grief that the mother feels.
It is in a way, a very lazy written way, because that makes no fucking sense.
Yeah. So the end, you find out that the dog didn't die.
Or did it?
Yeah.
Depending on which ending you believe.
Why don't you tell them what you interpret the ending, and then I will tell them how I interpret the ending.
So we did say this is an ending explained. This is more like an ending interpreted.
Yeah.
Because we both have different interpretations of the ending. So I'm going to keep calling her the woman mm-hmm. for now, just to make it a little easier. But remember, this is not a real person or even a ghost. It's a part of Ramona. And they go into the garage. She sends the kids away. They go in the garage. She takes the gun and puts it up to her own head with the woman helping her do this. And then it cuts to her walking out, and the kids run up and they're all hugging and holding each other. A big part of this movie is reverse lettering. Mirroring.
Yeah, well, she's yelling at Annie because
she keeps drawing backwards
R's.
She
keeps drawing her R's backwards, yes.
Well, if you look at a lot of the stuff without this movie, mirrors is a huge part of this.
She's constantly also looking at herself in the mirror. Yeah. Anytime she's hugging her kids, anything, she's always if there's a mirror there, she's looking over at herself.
And there's a part where she goes into this other realm and she's laying with her husband and he's giving the speech that he gave earlier, and she looks at his tattoo and it's backwards.
Yeah, and
the writing's
clock
backwards.
is backwards.
The clock is backwards. So when you're in that, everything's backwards. Mm-hmm. Well, they play it out that she comes out of the garage and she hugs her kids, and then here comes Charlie, Or what was the dog's name? Charlie, right?
Yeah.
And they go inside, and the camera pans over to a painting, and it's backwards. It's reversed. So, my interpretation...
Was it just her R, though, that was backwards?
No, it was the whole word. The whole word was backwards.
Okay, so your interpretation...
My interpretation is she died. Unfortunately, when she went into that... Because when
or she's stuck in it.
Yeah, well, the woman told her they're going to be fine. And she goes up to their pictures as kids and touches them. And it shows them having successful lives as adults. Mm-hmm. Annie's getting married. Tay is a doctor. Like, they're living these successful lives as adults. Because she's like, well, I can't leave them. And she's like, they're better off without you.
Yeah.
You know, and so my interpretation of this ending is she does take her own life, unfortunately. And this is her in that reverse world now, where she's still with her kids, but they're not really her kids. Because there's a part where she's fighting with the woman, and the woman is there, and she's stuck in the shadows, you know. Mm-hmm. And so, again, none of this movie makes any fucking sense once you find out that this thing is just a figment of her imagination that's wanting to take her own life.
That is a loophole for sure, that the kids can see it
and
also.
Talk to it.
And yeah, that is.
And get touched by it. So, like I'm saying, like this movie is, it's one of those ones where you could drive a fucking semi-truck through the plot holes in this movie.
Yeah.
But it's such... I can't remember a movie that was ruined as badly by the ending as this one for me. I don't mind a dark ending, but in my opinion, she did take her own life, and that was just because you think that everything's okay. Like, you're like, she made it. She beat this. You know, anybody that's battled with mental illness or grief or depression, you're like, she did it. She beat it. Because she was saying, I don't want to do this. And then you see that backwards painting, and you're just like, you know, punched in the throat. Like, oh, really? She didn't make it? Like, it hurt me to watch it. I'm like, God, man, like, I don't ever want to see a movie. And again, I'm not trying to be that guy, but I don't want to see a movie where someone loses their battle to depression like that, especially when they have kids. Like, it's such a hard battle to fight. And when you have that feeling of hope that she beat it, and then you see that backwards painting, I was just like, no, she's gone. And the dog is still dead, too. The chicken's probably, too. No.
Yeah. So I'm going to give my interpretation now. This ending was a long-winded one. So, you know.
Like, mine is, she didn't.
Yeah, no, I just feel like the backwards Ramona meant that she is, she's taking it all in. Like, she is realizing what she has, and because she kept yelling at the daughter because she was writing her R's backwards. So I feel like it's her saying, like, I'm not okay. I'm not okay, but I will be okay. Like, that's how I interpret it. Yeah, we all know somebody that has been, you know, that has lost the battle, unfortunately, to this type of stuff. And I've heard people say, like, when you're in that state of mind, you just feel like they're better off. Like, when she's showing her the pictures, like, she's better off. Like, that's her mind telling her, my kids are going to be better off if I unlive myself. Yeah. And, you know, that's really sad. Like, it really, like, makes me feel a certain way, because it's just like, I've never felt like my children would be better off without me. I've never felt like someone would take care of them better than I would. Right. And I feel like when she looked down at the stuffed animal, she realized, like, they need me. Yeah, it was a penguin. They need me, and I can't do this. And when they're running up and they're hugging, like, yeah. I feel like I'm always the one grasping for a happier ending.
It makes no sense to me, because why would they just come running back? Like, why?
Because it's their mother.
I know, but they didn't know what she was planning on doing.
That's why they're like, Mom, we can go together. They're not stupid.
We're not going to agree on this.
We're not.
But let us know in the comments, what do you think of the ending of this movie? How do you interpret the ending? And what do you give this movie? What would you rank this movie?
We haven't done our rating.
I know. I'm going to give this a 3 out of 5. Actually, I'm going to go with a 2.5 out of 5. It would have probably been like a 3.5 to 4 if it would have been a different type of ending. Yeah. I think that not just her unaliving herself, the fact that this woman this whole time has just been the part of her that wants to do it and is trying to help her do it, that to me was so fucking stupid. And it ruined so much of this movie for me. So I'm going to give it a 2.5, and that's very, very generous.
I'm going to say a 3 out of 5. I mean, and I really liked the family aspect. I really felt the grief. I felt her feeling like you can just tell she's overwhelmed, like she's now raising these kids on on their own, and a lot of times she's spacing out, and she is overreacting and yelling at her kids, and then she feels so guilty for it, and it's just like, we've all been there, like, you really feel like, and you've had to go on and be a parent or, a spouse when you are hurting and you've lost somebody. So that really spoke to me. So a 3 out of 5 for me. And the lady in the yard was creepy as fuck. And I loved the use of shadows. It's a lady. The title is woman, but when we're talking about her, she's a lady.
Yes, like I said, guys, let us know in the comments, what are your thoughts on this movie and which ending do you feel is proper for this movie? There's really no right or wrong answer. This is totally open to interpretation. So let us know what you guys think of the ending of this movie. If you haven't already, please like, comment, and subscribe. It does help build the channel more than you know. And follow Sledgehammer Horror on social media. Our links are in the description as well. But until next time, keep talking horror.
Stay who you are.
And we'll see you guys soon.
Bye, guys.